Happy Friday, everybody. I'm missing my sidekick and partner in fun, Marla. She was on a cruise, just got back with John and had a great time. Today I wanted to do a quick podcast because it's been an interesting few weeks, and this year in general has been very challenging. So this podcast I wanted to talk about motivational quotes and what many friends and mentors have taught us about life. And last Sunday, a great friend passed away unexpectedly. I found out just yesterday another one has cancer that he hasn't told anybody about. And the last year or two, we've lost a lot of friends. Life keeps getting crazy. You look at the news, there are no good news shows that are out there. They just kind of tell us all the bad and crazy things that are happening in life. So the whole purpose of the show today is to remind us that life is great. It is what we make of it, but it's not easy, and it's a bummer a lot of times. We have to control our thoughts. And like many of you, I need mentors. I get off kilter. It's been a very challenging year for me, and last year was a record year for me. Now, my choice is to roll up my sleeves and get busy on it because I can still have another great year. But I've lost a lot of things, or they didn't happen like I thought they would. And of course, I've had some great friends that have passed away, been stricken with cancer. One book that I'd like to share with you, if you get a chance to buy it, it's great. It's called The Greatest Motivational Quotes of All Time. And it's got a lot of good information in it. A lot of times in life, we have to just keep overcoming failures and adversity. And you know what? Of course, it's not easy. Like diet and exercise, we know what we should do, but unless we practice it, it means nothing. So just recently, the other day, I also got with a person I know that had an experience where he was once a drug smuggler, terrible, crazy life, made lots of money, but something happened to him where he went into a coma and died. And during that, he he had an experience with God, and when he popped out of it, his life changed. So the reason I'm bringing this to your attention, the other day when I was speaking to him, he said, "What's the matter? You're not your usual self." And I was like, "Well, let me feel sorry about myself. Some friends have died, some deals have gone through. I don't know." And he looked at me and said, "Denny, what's the matter with you? You're a fairly good-looking guy. You're successful. You've got your brain. You've got your health." He kept going on and on and on. And I felt like a dumbass, right? Because it's true. If we start with gratitude, that'll help us in the right direction, because I really don't know one truly successful person that hasn't failed, overcome adversity, and had to talk themselves into persisting and continuing going forward to succeed. It's not just about money. It's about being happy, having a balance, being healthy, enjoying life, and your belief systems. Do you think you can do it? Do you not think what you can do? For me also, this year has had a lot of challenges. I've had some personal experiences with people that were really, how shall I say, disappointing. And we all have our moments. I know that for me, I've certainly had bonehead moments in my time, but as long as we learn and adapt and change, we can make better the situation of whatever happens. So I want to read some of these quotes that is very helpful. Nelson Mandela, we all know who he is and what he went through. This is a guy that he was in prison for so many years. He gets out, he forgives the people who put him in there. One of his famous quotes is, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And that's true. They say that with everybody. I think they laughed at Edison before he invented the light bulb, and look what he did. And just because someone says it can't be done doesn't mean it can't be done. And Walt Disney had a saying that all of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Now, Steve Jobs had a great quote as well, saying, "I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance." I know in the past I've had people in the same line of work and business that I'm in that they were just so successful. I'm like, what the heck's going on? But when I analyze them, they typically outworked everybody. They didn't watch the hours, they worked day in, day out. You know, if you do anything long enough, you study it and you're determined, you'll get better at it. You will get better. It's impossible unless you quit, unless you don't learn, unless you don't adapt. And I know that the friends that are no longer here, the last one in particular, I'll tell you his name. His name was Scott. He was a very successful, talented musician, but the guy lived his life the way he wanted to. He was so happy in what he did. He was very gracious to everyone. Now he's gone. I know it was unexpected. The other friend that just told me today that he has cancer, he still has a positive outlook, even though the diagnosis is not the greatest. So I want to say a few other quotes. One of my favorite basketball players of all time was certainly Michael Jordan. And he states that he failed over and over again in his life, and that's why he succeeds. Many people in life and in business, as soon as adversity comes up, they run for cover, they hide, they quit, or they just don't want to deal with it. And, that's just not how life is. We all have adversities. Very few things go the way we plan it. I'm certainly not as good as I'd like to be in music, in business, and in life. But I'm not going to give up. And again, I must tell you, many people look at me and go, "Oh, he's lucky and he's had it easy." I have failed more times than anyone that I know. I've been mistreated many times more than I know. I've had a bad attitude more than I'd like to admit. I've done some dumb things. I haven't taken care of myself like I should, but that doesn't mean that the old me is going to stay in forever. So if you're listening out there and you're having a rough year or a rough day or a rough week, just know that you can pull yourself out of it. Go get some help, seek a mentor, get some counseling, read good books. Do things for yourself to raise your self-esteem. If you're eating right, exercising, you're focusing on your mood swings, how can you not be happy about that? How can you not improve your self-esteem, which will then also help whatever it is that you're doing? Whether you're a musician, an athlete, a business owner, a housewife, a homeowner, a student. The list goes on and on and on. You see, the other thing is, it's not what you know, it's what you put into action. Many people procrastinate. They wait for someday. And you know what? Someday leads to the road of nowhere. You have to start now. What are you waiting for? If you're unhappy, guess what? You have the tools within you to change that. Start doing things one day at a time to get you closer to it. So I think you have to be the minority, because the majority in the herd follow the other trends, and they don't think. They don't think that they can pull themselves out of whatever, terrible situation that they have. And Leonardo da Vinci also said it like this: I had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things. In other words, take action. What are you waiting for? And another quote by Michael Jordan is, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games, 26 times. I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I've missed. I failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm not on a salary. No one cares if I don't shave, go to work, or do anything. That's just how it is. There's a lot of reward, but a lot of risk. I have to be self-motivated. I look at many musician friends of mine that are so good and talented at what they do. You better believe they put in hours and hours and hours and hours of work into what they're doing. They had a passion for it. No one told them to do it. They just felt like doing it. And the The secret to getting ahead, according to Mark Twain, is to get started. A lot of problems for people is they just can't get out of their own way. They never get started. If you wait till you're ready to start something, you will never start. If you're afraid of failure or criticism or people making fun of you or laughing, then you'll never do what you'd like to do. You have to be bold. This country was founded on people who took risks. And the only real mistake, according to Henry Ford, is the one that we learn nothing from. So in my meeting the other day, my friend, I don't want to say his name yet, I want him as a podcast guest. He mentioned to me that he made so many bonehead mistakes in his life, but he just kept plodding along and plodding along and plodding along. Changing what he did, learning from it, and going forward. Now, Thomas Edison had another way of saying this: the most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time. I can remember there was a cartoon where someone was digging for gold and they had a pick and shovel and they were like a foot away from striking gold and they quit. Man, I felt like quitting many times in life. I felt like it a few times this year. But I've been motivated by friends of mine that have cancer, friends that have passed on that they had no idea would happen. Life is beautiful as long as you don't watch too much news, as long as you speak with other people, because we all have so much in common. We all want happy lives. We want to take care of our families. We want to succeed. But it's not good to compare ourselves to others. We should just compete with ourselves. Are we better today than we were yesterday? If we're unhappy, what are we doing about it? Are we sitting on a couch drinking alcohol and brooding about it? Or are we putting a plan together? Are we talking to other people to get help? Help is available. I've also found that pretty much every successful person loves to share what they did. There's a couple reasons for it. Number one, most people won't believe them or think it's just that simple. But it is. They decided to do something about it, and they took action. They didn't just think about it. They talked with others. And this show is a reminder for me. In 2010, I wrote a book called Thoughts to Live By. I used to teach it to students because I've mentored them. I've got to pick up that book once in a while because we can forget all these time-tested truths about life when we get stuck in our own rut and we don't try and seek help. And Babe Ruth, one of the greatest baseball players, another quote says, "You just can't beat a person who never gives up." Never gives up. Jim Rohn, a great leader, says, "Don't wish that life is easier. Wish that you were better to deal with it." Because the reality is, life doesn't really get better. We get better. We adapt to situations. So we have to look at what caused us and be responsible for everything that's happened to our life. If people have treated us terribly and we still hang around with them, maybe we ignored the warning signs and we're just, letting more of that into our lives. Could be also that they're just having a bad day. God knows I've had more bad days than I care to remember, but I've got a lot of great good days. And the Denny of yesterday is not the Denny of today, and the Denny of today or anybody is what really matters. What are you doing today? What are you planning to do tomorrow? What's your mindset? It's been a tough year for me. I don't post my dirty laundry on social media. I've had some personal relationships that haven't worked out. There have been some business ventures. So my choice is to make the best of it or brood and be miserable like so many out there. I'm sorry, but I may slip into that, but I'm definitely not going to stay in that mode. Definitely not. Patience, persistence, perspiration make unbeatable combination for success, according to Napoleon Hill. Many people always want to know the secret of what makes someone successful. And it's not just about how much money they have or how famous they are. Are they living a good, fruitful life? Are they kind to other people? Are they taking care of themselves? You know, it's work. I just turned 60 last summer. I've got to work at, trying to stay in shape, eating better. It's not like when I was in my 20s or 30s. But the thing is, growing old is a privilege. A lot of my friends and family didn't have that. My brother, who I loved more than anybody in this world, died at 44 years old. We have to look at this. And many of our friends and family that have passed on, they want us to have good lives. They want us to learn from them and remember the good things. And one of the best coaches ever, Vince Lombardi, the difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength or a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. Really, really hard to beat a person when they don't quit and they want to keep going forward. I can tell you, as an entrepreneur and business owner and dealing with a lot of people in the public, it's tough. Not everybody is happy in life. Not everybody can make decisions for their better. A lot of what I do is protect families, invest their monies, do financial planning for not just this generation, but the generation afterwards. And I want to say a quote from one of the greatest soccer players or athletes, Pele. He said, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice. Most of all, love of what you are doing or love of what you're learning to do. It is a journey. No one is successful overnight." My good friend Bobby Weinberg, we were at a function last night raising money for a friend of ours. And he played at a few festivals. He's a harmonica player. And I said, "Well, it finally took you long enough. How long does it take you?" He said, "Yeah, he's a 74-year overnight success. He's enjoying his life. He had tough struggles. He lost the love of his life some time ago to cancer. And we're all going through tough times, it seems. So being kind to others definitely helps. Thomas Jefferson also believed that he was a great believer in luck. He found the harder that he worked, the more luck that he had. It's so true. Very few things come easy. Again, I really do not know one single person that is successful that didn't grind it out, had the tenacity to go through and keep going at it. Every time they got knocked down, they got up. That's how life is. Our friends that have passed or those dealing with cancer, they've taught us all these things. Great philosophers have taught. You can change technology and so many things, but pretty much mankind has been thinking the same for thousands and thousands of years. It's the truth. The only thing that changes is technology and comfort zones. I mean, if you want to get technical, we have a standard of living that was much greater than all the emperors that lived thousands of years ago. It's the truth. So gratitude really helps when we're going through tough times. It has helped me. It has helped remind me and keep me grounded that and my friend the other day said, "Denny, what's the matter with you? You've got so many good things going for you. Why don't you experience that?" Coming from a guy who died and came back. And I enjoyed speaking with him, and he was right. I forgot this. I know so many things, but unless I practice it, like diet and exercise, it means nothing. I hope this message, if it just lands on one person who's going through a tough stretch right now, then I've reached my goal. And I'm reminding myself too. Now, Ben Carson is an interesting guy, and he said, "Through hard work, perseverance, and a faith in God, you can live your dreams." And that's true. I'm a man of faith, and because, I'm certainly not of this world. This world is crazy, and it's getting more crazy by the nanosecond. The great Benjamin Franklin also said that energy and persistence conquers all things. Another great quote from Thomas Edison: "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time." Again, I'm probably not saying anything that you haven't heard, but the whole purpose of this is to remind ourselves on what we should focus on. That's why so many people that just watch the news 4, 5, 6, 7 hours a day, what are you doing? Go outside, get the fresh air, go exercise, read a book, do something more productive than getting caught up with the craziness around this world. And Henry Ford, here's a quote from him that said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, and this time more intelligently." I guess if you fail and never learn, then you're kind of wasting your time. Everything that we do, we should learn from it. But the other thing that my friend said to me is he accused me of being too hard on myself. And he's right. I do have crazy standards. I have a crazy work ethic. And sometimes it's just overwhelming and intimidating to a lot of people. But it's only because when I get into something, I like to go full on, 150%. And sometimes it can get crazy. So it's nice that my friends can ground me and remind me to, wake up and smell the roses, so to speak. And the great Warren Buffett, I love this book. I highly recommend you get it. Again, it's a great quick read, the greatest motivational quotes of all time. Warren Buffett says you only have to do a very few things right in your life, so as long as you don't do too many things wrong. Yeah, repeating ourselves and making the same mistakes, I don't know. That's a tough one to overcome. You've got to wake up someday and go, hey, I'm tired of this. I mean, the guy who invented plumbing got tired of walking to the outhouse, didn't he? I mean, he did. He's like, hey, I want to change something. Now, I don't know how rich he got, but thank you, sir, because, outhouses are no fun. Here's another quote from John D. Rockefeller, one of the original, billionaires here. "I do not think that there is any other quality so essential to success of any kind as the quality of perseverance." We look at athletes, we look at musicians and so many successful people, and we go, wow, they were lucky. Look at them. People don't see the hours they put in, that when they failed, they still went forward with more confidence. They adapted, and they were almost, possessed at whatever it is that they wanted to do. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of my favorite characters, and he's a success story. He came here with nothing, and look how big he got. No pun intended. He says, "Strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develops your strengths." You ever know people that are trust fund babies that really didn't have it tough in their life and they're a basket case? Well, it's because they didn't learn to overcome adversity. We have to have bad stuff happen to us so we can appreciate the good stuff. And we have to learn and adapt to overcome. That is what a successful life is about, not just business. And what we're talking about this topic is, I'm not talking to you so you can be the next rich person or the greatest musician. We're talking about being happier, content in life, and having more productive habits. First things we have to control are our thoughts and belief systems. And that comes with practice and reminding ourselves, because habits don't happen immediately. They happen with practicing. Hey, I'm not going to have that cheeseburger. I'm going to have a salad right now. Let me mix it up. I would like to go to the gym, maybe hit the treadmill or do some weights today. One day at a time. Hey, I'm going to not drink, cocktails and get emotional when something happens to me. Benjamin Franklin had another saying that says, when you're finished changing, you're finished. Now, that's interesting because you ever hear someone that says, hey, that's the way I am and I can't change? That's kind of telling the world that I'm miserable and I don't mind you knowing it. I'm sorry. Human beings are made to adapt and change. If you've lived your life and you're in your 40s and you're still the same as you were in your 20s, you've kind of wasted 20 years. There's an old saying that, and it's true, that we age too quickly and get smart too late. Or, it's amazing. I wish it were the opposite. We were smarter and then we can deal with the aging. But as we learn and adapt in life, we should get to be better at it, more happy, more grounded. And Uh, an author named Alex L. had a saying that I thought was good too. I am thankful for my struggle because without it, I wouldn't have stumbled across my strength. Interesting. I was talking to my partner just the other day. He's a very successful big producer with the companies. And I said to him, I said, wow, you did all these things. And what if you didn't have your kids, and family? And he looked at me and he said, then I wouldn't have been as successful. That's interesting. Your why is what dictates your motivation. He loved his family. He wanted to be as successful as he could so he could provide a home and a life for them that he didn't have. Talk about motivation. Maybe that's what I missed. The family thing or the marriage and kids, I guess I missed that memo. But I certainly have enjoyed mentoring students through the years. I've got great friends and business associates. Thomas Edison again said, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. As I said, the certain way to succeed is to always try one more time. We have to remind ourselves that no one gets it the first few times. And you know what? If you get knocked down 9 times, get up on the 10th one. You could strike gold, like that person, the true story, who quit when they were a foot or two away from diamonds and gold that they were mining in Africa. And Benjamin Disraeli said, there is no education like adversity. If you've had it easy, and believe me, I don't know too many people that have had it easy. I'm going to bet everyone listening to this or watching this has got many stories that they can share, how they overcame adversity or bad situation, death of a loved one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why I can't really watch the news too much. I watch certain aspects for the financial side, but it's just a bummer. I cannot desensitize myself. So remember, according to Albert Einstein, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. And that kind of sums it up, because we can either rise to the challenge or we can just, stick our head in the sand and hope that it gets better. So Steve Maraboli also said, life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient. So I'm hoping that some of these quotes can help some of you out there. It's certainly helping me. It's a reminder to me. Again, I just lost a friend last Sunday. I just found out another one had cancer, and the last couple of years have been unbelievable. And even though last year was a personal record year, this year, I thought I'd be so much further ahead compared to last year for things that lined up, but I cannot control those things. The only thing I can control is my attitude, what I'm going to do about it, and how I'm going forward. And am I grateful for the life that God has given me? The fact that, I have a beautiful office, a good opportunity, I have my health, and I have things that money just can't buy. So I'm going to have to learn to not be so hard on myself. And Vince Lombardi also said that it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up. And one of my favorite quotes, I was just speaking at a conference recently, and I used this by Nelson Mandela, an inspirational man. He's an angel. Do not judge me by my success. Judge me how many times I fell down and got back up again. It's so easy to quit. It's so easy to lose hope because it's what the herd mentality does. And I really believe, in my mind, it's the minority of people that make this world go round. The people who tune out the naysayers, the people that work on themselves so much that criticism and situations do not control their lives. They overcome it. I'm reminding myself in this, and I'm hoping that some of you can take this message, not only listen to it, but take actions. Start today. A lot of times just writing down what you'd like to do helps, or what you don't want to do, what you like, what you dislike. Put an action plan together. But just know, starting right now, this very moment, you can decide going forward for a better outcome in whatever struggle you're doing. I know money is a big problem for so many. Everything's getting so expensive. So what are we going to do about it? Either we make more money or we minimize our spending habits and somehow meet in the middle somewhere. But if you're like me that has forgotten recently that we have health and things that money can't buy, we have the Almighty God that has provided so much for us, we do live in the greatest country. Are we perfect? No. No country's perfect. But the ideology of our country is perfect. We want freedom. We want everyone to be treated equally and everyone to have a good chance at a good life. We also have to watch the company that we keep. I think for me, in business, I've always liked to be partnered up with people that are doing better than I. Same thing with music. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I was the lead singer and guitar player for Iron Butterfly. My best friends were Joe Shermy and Floyd Sneed from Three Dog Night. I was Mickey Dolenz' guitar player. And I look back on those days and, I really didn't maximize what I was doing, but it was fun. I look back and what I have accomplished because I am hard on myself. I don't think I'm anywhere near where I should be in life, but I have to get over that. And many of you probably feel the same way, but we can't compare ourselves to others. We have to compare ourselves to where we were yesterday or years ago and where we are now. I was a lot slimmer back then, but I can work on that now by not eating chicken wings and pizza too much. And staying with the right company, it helps. I didn't finish the sentence. I played with all these great musicians and I got better because of it. They were better than I. I got better because I got to play with them. I still like to do that now. When I go out and hear a group, I don't compete. I'm like, wow, listen to them. That's awesome. I want to jam with them. I want to feel it and get better. And in business, I always want to partner up and work with people that are a lot more successful than I, because I want to know what they did to get where they are. Many of them share the same traits: goal-driven, positive, not negative, problem-solving, glasses half full, not half empty. Life is tough, so we have to make the best of it. My uncle, God rest his soul, I lost him recently, said life is really good if you know how to enjoy it. Life is really bad if you don't know how to enjoy it. So the message here, and I do recommend you get this book, is to get out of our own way, dig ourselves from whatever hole it is. I know that there are more than a few friends that are still battling cancer, and their outlook is just, oh my God, beyond inspirational. Would I have the same courage if I was in their situation? I don't know, but I would like to think I would or do. And we all like people that have comeback stories. We all like winners, but we don't see what they did to get there. And that to me is important. That's why I always ask a lot of questions. A lot of people say I ask too many questions, but I always want to know what they did to get where they are. And I don't want to say jealous, but it's unbelievable that some people we meet in our lives seem to always be happy, seem to always be going in the right direction. And I know that it's not by accident. They decided that's how they're going to be. It's a lot of hard work. I can tell you that many times I go, geez, what am I doing? This business of mine, music, whatever. And then another day can come and things happen. I'm like, whoa, this is great. We have to have balance because nothing worthwhile comes easy. Life is hard. The only thing we can control is what we do about it, what our attitude is. Are we working on ourselves? And I tell you, recently, last few weeks, lost some friends, and really the last couple of years, between COVID, this crazy world, and losing family and friends, it's no wonder people go crazy. But we don't have to do that. We can make the best of life. We can talk to other people that are like-minded. We can learn from them and stop watching so much damn TV. If you're watching 7 hours of television a day instead of reading, being outside, exercising, eating right, I don't think you're going to have a great shot of being productive or happy. Pretty much all successful business people, musicians, again, no matter what it is, they work typically harder than most other people. I know that I want to mention his name, but Albert Castiglia and Mike Zito just won some awards. And congratulations. Albert, I've spoke to him a few times. Great blues musician, funny guy. I mean, if he didn't make it in music, he'd be a great comedian. And I remember him telling me that, hey, people think, this happened overnight. I've been doing this for 22 years, and I enjoyed the journey. So Albert, much like Scott, who passed away, loved what they did. Do I love what I do? Sometimes. But, it was Albert's love and perseverance that got him to where he is now. And he makes a joke. He won another BMA award. He says before it's over, he wants to be the Meryl Streep of BMA awards, and he probably will. But what I can learn from, I don't know Albert that well, but he's been gracious. I learned that he stuck to it. He stayed. He didn't change course. He never gave up on himself. And now he's enjoying the fruits of his labor. I don't really know Mike Zito personally, but I'm sure his story is very similar. He lost the love of his life recently, and he decided to keep going and make the best out of his life. These are just some examples. I know some of you know many people that fall into this category. I know for me that life has never been easy. I can't remember anyone ever giving me too much of anything, and I've earned it all. It's been a struggle, and we all have up and down moments. Last year was a record year. The year before, not that great. This year, well, let's see what happens. But my goal is, no matter what happens, I want to make the best of it. And part of the motivation is I keep losing friends as I get older, or I keep seeing friends dealing with real issues like cancer and other things. So Marla will hopefully be back next week. I'd like to keep these. I just wanted to get that message out again because as recently as today, I found another friend who confessed to me that he has cancer. He hasn't told anybody yet, so I'm going to not tell anyone. And I was just talking to him for a while, and he seemed to be in pretty good spirits about it. And I hope that all of you have a great weekend. I'm going to try and release this today on Friday. I hope God continues to bless you, and no matter what you're going through, you can dig yourself out of whatever hole it is. Stick around and hang out with other people that are like-minded. Stay away from negative people. I mean, that's all I can say. Misery loves company. Don't be miserable with miserable company. Make the best of this. This could be as good as it gets for many out there. But again, through the grace of God, we overcome. We learn many things. And in the Bible itself, I think they said wisdom was one of the greatest things to have. We just don't think anymore too much, or common sense has gone out the window. Let's get it back. So again, that's my message for today on a Friday. I hope everyone does well, and I hope you stay in touch, and I hope to see you on some shows. I know that my next show at the Biscuit is March 22nd with the All About Carlos Santana tribute. And to all my friends that are no longer here, thank you for being in my life and teaching me, because this dude has definitely done some bonehead stuff in the past, but that's the past, and it has nothing to do with today. So again, thanks for listening in. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.